Hello everyone. It's been 18 months since I first heard the word COVID, or its full term, Coronavirus Disease 2019. It's the one thing that every person on the planet has in common. Whether you're rich or poor, sick or healthy, COVID affects us all in one way or another. This virus doesn't treat us all as equals, now does it? It treats us all very differently. It reminds us of our individuality in the context of a shared global experience. How can I begin to understand what it feels like to lose a brother at the age of 38? Or the emptiness of not being able to say goodbye to a loved one because death came suddenly in a lonely COVID ward. My COVID is not your COVID. It's been 3 weeks since I started showing symptoms. At first the symptoms were just a head cold. But after 2 days the head cold didn't go away as it normally does. And I got tested for COVID, and I tested positive. But I had none of the COVID symptoms. I didn't have a cough. I didn't have a fever. I still had my taste and smell. And that first week wasn't really that bad. It was just the symptoms of a head cold. And we thought, maybe it is as easy as the stories that we've heard where people get over this thing in 14 days. Maybe we're some of those lucky ones. But it wasn't quite that easy. My wife has rheumatoid arthritis, and she has to inject herself every 2 weeks to manage her pain. The COVID made her skin so sensitive that her clothes hurt her. She couldn't sleep for 3 nights. One of the joys of COVID is having a bit of insomnia. I don't normally have insomnia, but I slept only a couple of hours last night. Actually, this morning I've been awake since about 4, staring at the ceiling, and eventually at 5 o'clock I got up, made myself a cup of coffee, and sitting here and was waiting for the day to start.
Dark blue ocean in the sea, waves are rocking into sleep. He can still hear her heartbeat. Hidden secrets are hard to keep.
As the third wave of infections roll on in South Africa, very soon every one of us will be able to replace the numbers on the statistics with the names of people we loved. You see, numbers don't have families, names do. In week 2, the symptoms changed. You know that burning sensation you felt in your lungs the first time you inhaled a cigarette? That's what your lungs feel like all the time. It makes you notice your breathing. It's a little shallower than normal. And I had a loss of concentration, what they call foggy brain. That made it impossible for me to work because I didn't trust my judgment. The other symptom you notice is chronic fatigue. You're just tired all the time. At a primal level, I was aware that my body was fighting something serious. You know, it's ironic that we, as a world, with all of our cleverness, were so unprepared for this pandemic. It's going to take us a long time to get control over this virus, like we did with polio and smallpox and TB and AIDS. Our modern Western societies subscribe to the legal principle that we do not impose cruel or unusual punishment for crimes anymore. We can't even get our heads around chopping somebody's hand off for theft because it's so cruel. My uncle died this week of COVID, a week before his 76th birthday. My cousin said to me that COVID was cruel to him. It denied him the opportunity to say goodbye to his dad, but it also denied his dad the feeling of having his loved ones around him. My grandmother died a year ago, just before COVID, and when she got ill of pneumonia and was hospitalized, I was able to get on a plane, literally, and on an hour's notice, and fly to the UK and be with her. And when I arrived and I walked in and she recognized me, she lit up. And we stayed with her for the rest of the week. But she never regained consciousness. That moment when I saw her and she lit up and she recognized me was the last lucid moment she had. And a few days later she died, peacefully, in a hospital in Macclesfield, in the UK. But throughout that week, we were with her. We were in and out of the hospital. We stayed with her. Some nights my dad just stayed over at the hospital just to be with her. She couldn't talk back. She couldn't hear it. She couldn't talk back. She didn't understand what we were saying, but she could feel us. She could feel our presence. COVID takes that away from people. I feel so sorry for everyone who has lost a loved one in this way.
Oh, my love, you're such a fragile thing, I know. And with the winter comes the ice, the snow, but I'm it all. And oh, my love, don't worry about the cold just yet. The trees haven't started to shed. Just feel the summer sun as it warms our bed. I'm lying, and I'm lying when I say but I'm trying to shelter you from pain. And oh, my love, the seasons come and they go, but I hope you know that I